No. So,
Alright.
um,
Should I go in team chat or should I
oh,
just keep it you and me?
it's up to you. I mean, you and me might probably be better unless you
Yeah,
try.
it's probably better,
Yeah.
yeah.
So right
Probably not
now,
good at juggling.
yeah. Right now, what
Yeah,
we're doing is we're taking a look at our team comp. Right. We want to
yeah, it's the double
di-
shield and
biggest thing we're
put him in
looking at
high
is
ground.
who are we nanoing. Right. That we try to come up with a nano priority
So
list. Think of.
probably
Yep.
Soldier, Reinhardt,
Yep.
I don't know, Kree after that, maybe?
Yeah,
I'm
maybe
not too sure.
it's gonna depend between Kree and Reinhardt. Probably depend on the distance, right? Because
Yeah,
if Reinhardt, it is a very wide open map, so McCree might get a lot of value out of it too.
yeah.
So yeah, definitely. So and McCree and Soldier, it's always gonna be when they have their ultimates. So we are gonna swap to the other priorities, right? If let's say Soldier's dead or Soldier doesn't have his ult, but let's say like McCree
Yeah,
does have his ult, right?
that's bad, mate. Just ignore that, that's fine.
Mm.
No, and the bad sleep as well. I could hit that Symmetra earlier, but I couldn't hit the Winston uh, without the ball. Yeah. Should probably drop down my team here.
Yeah, probably the opposite. I'd probably say staying up on the high ground is where you're gonna want to be, right? And
Right.
unless your whole team is running like all the way to the other side, then you'd probably just rotate up on the high ground. But you want to keep the high ground because that's good survivability, that's good
Yeah,
angles that you can see and you can land nades from. So whenever possible, you're gonna want to hold up on high grounds. High ground's just very, very good positioning in general, right? Because people can't get to you when you're on high ground as easily. Now that we know that they're on a monkey, right, or a somewhat dive comp, we're gonna look to
yeah,
stick with our team as much as possible so that
yeah,
they can help protect us.
yeah. And peel for us, I think they call it, right?
Yep.
Oh,
Oh,
damn it.
try to
I
look
heard
for
the
the nade.
TP, but I didn't hit him. Yeah.
Hmm. Right, so we're coming back. We have a nano this fight, so we're probably gonna look to use the nano here. So we're pressing tab. You see, soldier does have visor, so we're looking to use it on him whenever.
So reclaim high ground here, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah.
You see, soldiers like to our right.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
probably instead of
I could
waiting
have.
for yeah, instead of in that
Yeah.
situation, instead of waiting for him to use his ult, just pop nano
I
on him
could
and
have
then
nanoed him. Yeah.
oh, exactly. Right. And then
It just saved him. Yeah.
that kind of like gives him a nudge to turn it on and then you'll
Yeah.
get a lot of value out of that, right? Because he's getting dove, that
Right.
keeps him alive, and then it forces him to use your ult use his ult before he ends up both of you
Yeah.
dying, right? So make sure you're looking to use your nano earlier in fights. You don't want to hold on to nano because the later on in fights
Yeah.
you use it, the less value you're gonna get.
Right. I got you. I got you. Soldier. No. He's out my line of sight. I shouldn't be up here. They're
Yep.
all here. Yeah.
Gotta be careful that we're paying attention to where the enemy team is.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
our entire team's standing below, then we might want to give up high ground and go low, right? Because
Yeah.
then we're on our own versus four people,
Yeah.
and if we're sitting with our team, they can help protect us from dives, and we
Yeah.
can actually see them and heal them.
Well,
Okay, so now that's fight number 2 that we've gone without using nano. So make sure we're looking to use it pretty early in this fight.
yeah.
Right, the longer we hold on to our ults, the less that we probably could have had a second nano by now, and that means we're just gonna get more value. Oh, pay attention to kill feed, right?
Uh,
So,
yeah.
um,
Yeah. McCree. Yeah. I didn't see it. I'm
yep.
looking.
So,
Yeah. Well, we used all the ults.
oh, actually, never mind. That was my bad. I wasn't paying attention to the kill whatever the timer. So that's actually a fine because of the fact that it was last fight. But
Right.
if that was not last fight, that would not have been a good nano because you wanted to hold on to it. So
Yeah.
we'll talk about how to read fights real quick since we have time in between here. Um,
Okay.
when how you know whether or not you're winning or losing a fight is by watching kill feed. If you see that
Right.
you're up 1 to 2 people, that is an advantage, right?
Yeah.
When that means that you can look to play more aggressively, and when you're up 2 to 3 people, that is pretty much a one fight. But at that point,
Yeah.
if you already won the fight, you don't want to use your ult, right? That means you want to play super aggressive as a team. And that also goes the same way, the opposite. And so if
Right.
we
Okay.
are down 1 to 2 people, that means that we are losing the fight. We're at a disadvantage, but we didn't lose the fight yet, right? We're not. We can still win it.
Yeah.
If we're down 2 to 3 people, that means that that's pretty much a lost fight. You want to look to be getting out if you can, and if you don't think you can get out, you want to die. And
Yeah.
then you also don't want to use an ult in a fight where you know that you lost.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It makes sense. It's
All right,
just reading the situation a bit better.
all right. Who would you say would be top three now for Nano?
uh, would it be Farah then Reinhardt?
Yep.
Farah does loads of damage,
Yep,
right?
Farah would probably be number one. Again, McCree, if he's in a good position with a high noon, that'd be number two, and then
Yeah.
Reinhardt would be number three. But with Reinhardt and McCree, it's what position are they in? If Reinhardt's like right on top of them, then that might be a better nano than the McCree.
Yeah. That's a sim.
Good job staying with your team. You're up
Yeah.
3 people right now, so we can look to play super super aggro, right? As a team, we can look
Yeah.
for nades, sleeps. Probably look for the aggressive, like the nade on him, right? That way we can't get
Yeah. I
healed.
missed it, but
All right. So
it's a short game. But
yeah, you can probably go ahead and queue up for another one. I don't have too much to go over. Um, but keep in mind that in up against that composition, because they had a dive a lot of the time there, when you're up against a
yeah.
dive, you're gonna hold on to sleep and nade a lot more often than when you're not up
All
against
right.
a dive, right? Because you want the sleep and you want the nade to use defensively, but
Yeah.
most of the time you're gonna look to use sleep and nade offensively and look to use it offensively. I think we
Right.
use it defensively a little too often there, to where we pretty much
Okay.
every single nade that we used and every single sleep that we used was when somebody came to us, which isn't
Right.
which
Okay.
a lot of the time we're gonna want to look for situations to nade and sleep people, because that's on a
All right.
our biggest carrying potential. That's how we
Yeah. Biggest
do
value. Yeah.
things. Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
So we can hold on to it a little bit more often when we're up against nice sleep. Where we can hold on to it a little bit
Looks
more
like it
often.
looks like a trap, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, when we're up against a dive, hold on to it a little bit more often. Anything else is probably going to make up like 60% or 50% of our nades. Is going to
Yeah.
be looking for the antis. Um, Now the nade is anti nade is our default, but whenever somebody
Yeah.
needs healing, whenever we're low and there's no teammates, sorry, that we don't have another support or we don't have a health pack, right? Then we can use it for our teammates to burst heal them up, or we can use it
Okay.
for on ourselves.
Okay. Cool. So generally, just use it aggressively, unless
Yep.
the
Look for
healing's dead,
yes.
basically.
Aggressively is the default. Anti-nade is the default, but
Yeah.
for 40 to 50% of the time, you're gonna need it for the healing if it comes up.
Right. Okay. Cool. With this team, would it be a jump rat? So,
You don't want to nano characters that require skill shots. So because Junkrat's not really a he's gonna miss a lot of his shots, right? And it just isn't a great target when you are nanoing somebody who's gonna be missing most of their shots. You want people that are
yeah.
consistent. That's why tanks a lot of the time are very good. So in this comp, I probably say Monkey would be your number one, and then maybe a low HP Orisa would be or actually no, you have a Cree. So Nano McCree would be number two, right?
Got a very aggressive Moira this game. So,
And make sure you're trying to focus the people who need healing the most. So if Monkey's
Yeah,
in the middle of their team, he's gonna need healing more than the people who are on your side who aren't critical, right? So
yeah,
focus the people who are in need of healing the most first, right? So that means we also have to pay attention and make sure we're looking at where all of our teammates are at.
yeah,
Look for the self nade, right? Pay attention to your own health. That way we're not sitting at 140 or request
yeah,
healing or try to look for a health pack, but you don't want to sit low HP. In between every single fight, look to be pressing tab. So right now we should be looking to see like, okay, did their team make any swaps? Did our team make any swaps? Did what ults do we have to combo with? Right, we'll probably look to go for a monkey. So whenever monkey dives in, we'll look to go on him. Right, so make sure whenever we know we have a nano target, we're paying extra close attention to them. We actually did swap off monkey, right? So
yeah. He's got Diva now, yeah.
that's an important thing
So
to pay attention to because now maybe we might want to go for a nano McCree.
it's up there as well. Come on. Pick me, please. Oh, God. Oh, he did for a second as well, but I wasn't.
Yep. If you're going in between a fight, make sure you're rotating to that high ground so you have that good positioning. That way you can see more of your team. You have good visibility.
Should have used it to save it.
Yep. Or also on top of that, McCree did get off a high noon right next to you.
Yeah.
Again, make sure you're looking to use it earlier instead of later.
How do you get a. Oh, drink rat. It's like, how?
Okay, we got the picks. Right now we're
Yeah,
rotating up to high ground or left side since you don't have time. Maybe yeah, the left side probably be better.
I hear you. Where are you?
Good aggressive anti-nade. And make sure we're looking to use our nano where we've held on to it for about like 15 seconds into that fight, and then that means that we're dying.
Yeah,
The reason why I don't think I just said, I don't think I said this yet, but the reason why we use nanos earlier in the fight, right, is because the later on we use it, the more an advantage we're giving the enemy team. So let's say the um, on their side, they use a visor first, right? Now that visor is
yeah,
getting picks, and that means that now your team's at a disadvantage. So all ults, if you use nano there after they've already got one or two with a visor, that means you have less follow up, and it's less likely that you're going to get value out of your nano. So we want to make sure we're looking to use nano early in the fight, not
yeah.
mid fight or late fight.
Well,
Yeah. Right. So is that like 4 or 5 fights right in a row without using nano, right? So
yeah,
make sure that we're looking to actually use that, um,
yeah,
and when it's needed. But keep in mind that like just popping it there after you've actually won the fight. I was mentioning it because the fight was done, right? So
yeah.
we don't want to use ults after fights are done. As long as the fight is going and no team has won or lost, that's when a nano wants to come out, right? If a fight's not happening, nano doesn't come out. But as long as the fight's happening, like right now, would have been perfect for a nano, right? So we just want to look to use it more
Yeah.
often, look for better situations to use it. I also still like to see you using more aggressive anti-nades, right? And because we don't need to hold on to sleep really for any, sleep's coming out very infrequently, right? Because we don't need to hold on to sleep for like any divers or anything like that. We're gonna be launching it into the enemy team a lot more often. Probably looking
Yeah,
for
I've heard
Nano right about now.
McCree. Well,
Right? Did McCree have high noon there?
he used it like during the fight.
During the fight?
So,
Yeah. So if McCree used High Noon, he's probably no longer the best target, right? So when targets that
right,
sometimes you have to evaluate, right? We already talked about how skill shot characters aren't good when it comes to
yeah,
nanos usually. So unless McCree has High Noon, which is an auto lock, McCree is
yeah,
not a good target. So instead you go for the Diva or the Sigma probably. Probably Diva would be the best, and then Sigma would be second best. More with a Coalescence is also really good. So I probably do more with Coalescence over a Sigma.
right.
Sleep, good nade as well, right? We just basically on our own secured 2 kills there. Now we're looking to play aggressive because we have those picks.
Yeah,
Look to use nano, don't hold on to it, right? Go pop it on diva or something like that. Good nade again. Remember, your nano gives health, your nano gives damage reduction. So if we look to pop it on a
yeah.
tank, a lot of times it's gonna get a lot of value. So before diva gets naded and gets demeched, we nano that, and then now she become kind of our front line. Good nade.
Yep. Dear. Could have dodged that if I was paying more attention. Oh, dear.
Did we know that soldier had visor there?
No.
Right? Yep, make sure when
I
we're
just
like
thought we were hitting overtime.
yep, so when we're like 80%, 90% to our nano, we should be pressing tab so we know like,
Yeah,
what are we doing with our nano, right? Because if soldier doesn't have visor there, then I would probably go with Sigma over a soldier because it's slightly
right,
more
yeah.
consistent of damage.
All right.
Now on top of that, who on their team there was like so who was the new character they on their team? Is it
Uh, I
they
can't
they
remember.
just on the last fight they
The
got a new
Bastion,
character?
yeah, Bastion, yeah,
Yep.
I saw.
So Bastion's a
Yeah,
very, very easy sleep target. He's a very easy nade
yeah.
target. He's standing still. He didn't have shield on top of him. So just look to line up a sleep real quick on that, and then that becomes a really easy way to shut him down.
Hmm.
Okay. So far, I'd probably say we did do good with our basic primary mechanics. I think those are very decent. Um,
Correct.
I do have slight thing to talk about that after we're done this game. We'll go over how to use the different types of scoping a little bit better. I
All right.
probably say your ability management needs a lot of work and making sure you're using your nade more aggressively a lot of the time.
Yeah,
I think your positioning is actually pretty decent. I think you're usually
yeah.
in the right spot. But then
Right.
also I think awareness and decision making are two other big ones that need to be worked
Yeah,
on. So knowing what looking at all the different parts of your screen, knowing when to get aggressive, um, knowing when to do what, and then awareness will directly feed into decision making because when you have bad awareness, right, you don't know what's happening, you can't make
yeah,
good decisions, and when you know what's happening, that gives you information to work with and you can make better decisions.
yeah. Makes sense.
And then also another thing, the other big thing you need to work on is ultimate usage, right? Because we hold on to it a lot of the
Yeah,
time. Look to use it pretty much in the fight that you get it, as long as the fight's still going on. And good self nade, good positioning, and using that corner as cover. I think. Oh yeah, I'll talk about that after this game. Second.
okay.
Getting up to 75 on nano, right? So we're pressing tab, we're seeing, okay, what's soldier at,
Correct,
right? Set soldier's a
Soldier's close, yeah.
72, right? So now we just gonna keep tabs on that, make sure that when we're nanoing him that he does have his ult. Good self nade, good positioning still. Wait till the bubble's gone, till you're launching that 94 on nano, right? So right now we're unfortunately he used it.
Sadly,
Now,
yeah,
now, right now,
assist.
I'm questioning. Okay, so we just got 2 more picks, right? So if we're watching kill feed, we are currently still even. Probably looks nano. Yep. Good job.
Yeah.
Look for the anti-nade on the sleeping Zarya there. Okay. Rather than running around on point there, probably maybe try to put yourself more in the sidelines, because
Yeah.
running around on point's gonna be very risky for you, and it's gonna mean that you're taking a
Right.
lot of damage.
Yeah. Is it worth nading from here, or is that
Yeah, because
a bad idea?
you'll get it back
Yeah.
by the time you get back from spawn or like get
Yeah.
to the fight,
Yeah.
right?
I need
Like
to
you
work on
see,
that
you have.
nade line, but
Yeah, I probably like that. That's one of those things where, like, honestly, that's not even something you need to learn until you get up to GM, because that's not going to get you much value ever, and it's very hard to learn it, or not. It's not super easy to learn, and when you could just put more that time and effort into learning some of the other things that we've been talking about.
yeah, I don't just want to die there yet.
Okay, right now, we're looking to maybe position right above those guys on the rafters there.
Oh yeah.
Yep, that gives us good nade angles. We can see all of them. Right.
Okay.
Make sure like looking to reposition back up on that. No,
Yeah.
probably be going back to that rafters, right? Because we can look for nades from above there, right? And we can get nades
Yeah.
pretty much behind their shields very easily by doing that. Make sure you're not holding on to nano for too long, right? We weren't really paying attention to who we're nanoing, and then now the fight's happening before we even get that off.
Yeah. Please. Oh.
Right, again, right, it's the nano is coming out, but it's after, the entire fight is progressed, right? We're
Right.
using it at the very, very end when there's
Yeah.
only 2 enemies alive, when we should be using it when both teams have 6 people, or one team,
Yeah.
or maybe even, like, one team's down a person or something like that, but, we wanna use it a lot earlier than that.
Yeah.
Right now, you
Really want
wanna
to be on.
yeah. Yep, you wanna
Yeah.
use that time to rotate up to the high ground. Good awareness with that soldier. Yeah, Sleep and Nade got held on to for a really, really long time
Yeah.
there. When like when Roadhog's nanoed, Sleep is probably gonna be the best one, right? When ults are being used, Sleep is is when Sleep comes out in kind of a neutral primary fight. That's when Nades can be really useful, right? But if you're trying to stop a Roadhog from getting value who's nanoed, you're probably gonna get more value out of a Sleep than a nano. Or sorry, a Sleep than a Nade, not a nano. That's not what I
Yeah.
meant. Okay, 75 on ult, pressing tab, right? Remember, we're pressing tab in between every
Right.
single fight. Soldiers
Soldier's close.
85.
Yeah.
We're up 2. So right now we're just maybe be more aggressive with our nades, toss one in there. We can look for more aggressive ability usage, positioning, because of the fact that they're down 2 people.
Yeah.
Roadhog go.
Right side is flanking.
Right. Yep. So we pay attention to that, right? When we know
Yeah.
that when we see him go like that, we're keeping an eye on him.
Did that to keep him alive more than anything.
Yep. And that's always gonna look for the self heal over, trying to use it to break him.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always going to increase the value of a nano when we're using it to keep somebody alive and for the damage reduction, right? So
Yeah.
that's always a plus, right?
Yeah.
So maybe using it on us, even though a soldier might be the best one to nano, maybe if a Reinhardt's critical and is about to die, using it on the Reinhardt now becomes the better option because we're keeping him in the fight.
That's it. That's a yikes. Don't really have much choice but to contest here.
Yep. Okay. What character are they on that's new?
Bastion again.
Yep. Did we notice that last fight?
I didn't know.
That's because we're not pressing tab in between fights. If we press tab in between fights, then we see that swap before we even get to the fight, right? And then that means that now we can go for sleeps on the Bastion who's standing still, go for nades on the Bastion who's standing still, right?
Yeah.
If you have a Reinhardt sitting in a cart there, don't run the cart, right? Sit on the sidelines and you can stay alive longer and heal the Ryan alive, and then that means you both stay alive longer. Right? You only touch cart ever or touch point ever if it's in a last case scenario where you're the only one who can touch. Oh, didn't look.
Yeah, I didn't know it.
Yep. Nice nano there though.
Big shadow.
Nope. Sleep the Bastion is standing
Light
still.
on the sleep, yeah.
Yep. Probably prioritize that over the reload, right? It's getting that
Yeah.
sleep on the Bastion is more important than you just having some ammo when everyone's full HP.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to screen share if you Overwatch if you want to go take a look.
Yep.
And we'll go over some stuff. But funnily enough, and this is something that if you know your Overwatch, the YouTube channel,
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard of
yeah,
it.
he essentially like I'm friends with him, like the guy who did it, and I actually worked for him for a little bit. But essentially, like he said something that I think it applies here is that sometimes like when people come to him for coaching, he says that they don't really know what they're struggling with, and oftentimes the things that they say that they're struggling with are the things that they're good at because they're thinking about it the most. And for you, I'd probably say that because you coming in and you're saying I am trying to work on my positioning and my mechanics. Those are the
Yeah.
things that you are the best at out of anything else. So those are
Right.
actually the things that you don't need to work on as much, right? You still need to work on them a little bit, right? There's always something you can work on better, but those are probably would say out of like your whole gameplay are the best parts of your gameplay.
Okay.
Right,
Cool.
is your positioning and your mechanics. So now we can slightly try to transfer over our how we're trying to learn the game into these other categories. So,
Okay.
okay, so we'll go over a few different things here. First off, really fantastic on a nade tech, and if you already know this, I apologize, but you're not using it, so I'm gonna assume you don't
Are
know it.
you sharing screens, by the way?
Yes, I am. Are you? Is it showing you yours?
Okay, yeah.
Oh, you
There we
found
go.
it.
I figured it out. I'll stop streaming my info.
All right, so
There we go. Yeah, I can see.
So here, essentially how this works is you scope in, right? This only works if you're scoped. You take your ult
Okay.
charge, okay, the 8% right now, and you take that and
Yeah.
you line up with an enemy, and a nade will hit from any height, any range. Okay?
Oh, okay.
This might be the further away you get. I think it also will be closer to the bottom end of this.
Okay.
So we wait for them to go back in the room, toss it in, right?
This will only hurt for
Oh,
And then
okay.
that can help you land medium to long distance nades very, very, very well, right? So when I'm saying like you should be looking for a nade, even if they're all over there, and when a lot of times when they're all over there, that's the best time to use your nade because what are we going to need nade for if the enemy team's all the way over there, right?
Yeah.
So that's a situation where we can look at tossing a nade. We can like if they're all clumped up in a little tight ball there, we can just launch sleep pretty much in a straight line here, and it's probably going to hit something as long as there's no shields in the way, right?
Right.
So when things are all clumped up in a choke and very like all coming down the same little path, and that's a lot of times where sleeps and nades become very, very easy to hit. Now with your nade, make sure that we're looking to land nades at feet, not at bodies. If we're looking to land
Yeah.
nades on bodies, they body block it so it doesn't hit other people. Whereas if we try to hit
Right.
the feet, there's a gigantic radius round where it
Okay.
becomes a lot easier to hit rather than hitting a small little body. And even if we're throwing it, at his feet here. Oh, actually, I threw it a little too far to the right. That's my bad. That's the first time it's ever happened. I keep trying to every
Right.
time I do this, I stretch it a little bit further. But if we throw it at his feet here, right, just directly at his
Yeah.
feet, right, that's gonna hit both of them, right,
Oh,
because of the radius. So you can hit them anywhere in this giant radius around their body.
yeah.
So landing, and it's a lot easier, and you're gonna be hitting a lot more people. So look at feet, not people directly.
Okay.
Now the one mechanics thing I'd say you probably need to work on slightly, and this isn't. I wouldn't even say this is more of this is like affects your mechanics, but I'd say this is really a game sense thing. Is when to
Sure.
use each type of scope. Okay, so you have 3 different types. You have your unscoped shot, you have your scoped shot, and you have your quick scope shot. Okay.
Right. Okay.
A lot of the time, I'm noticing that you're hard scoping, so scoping in normally,
Yeah.
too close to people. Um,
All right.
so the range, I'll explain why you don't do this in a second, but the range that you're going to look to use your different things at are unscoped shots, right, are within 10 meters of somebody, right,
Yeah.
of a squishy target. Okay, so any non-tank is this range.
Okay.
Anything past that is a scoped shot. Tanks, since they have bigger hitboxes, can be 15 meters. So anything within this range is an unscoped shot. Anything past that is a scoped shot. Okay. A
Okay.
lot of the times you're within this range on people, right? And you're scoping them. And the why this is a disadvantage is because when we're scoped in, that means that we have less visibility, right? So you can see less,
Lower FOV. Yeah.
right? You have a lower or a lower movement speed, so you're going to be a lot easier to headshot, a lot easier to shoot, right? And you're going to be able to move around and get places a lot slower, okay? And
Okay.
then the third thing is that the lower sensitivity sometimes can mess with you because you have a lower sensitivity when you're right next to somebody, right? They're going to be moving technically a lot, or let's go to a moving target. When you're right next to somebody, they actually will move faster across your screen. So if we're
Yeah.
scoped in, this can be hard to shoot them, right? If they're right on top of us, right?
Yeah.
So mainly just look to unscope a little bit more when you're at that close range because it's not really going to do much. Like unscope shots, they're not hard. You're still because even though it's a projectile, when
Yeah.
you're right next to somebody, all we have to do is aim straight at their body, right?
Yeah.
It's not going to change because there's not enough travel distance for it to matter. Okay.
Right.
Now once we start trying to do that on somebody over there, that's where it becomes an issue because if we're aiming straight at their body while they're moving, then our projectile is going to end up missing them.
Yeah. All right.
So that's where you're scoping in, right?
Okay.
Quick scoping is going to happen is pretty rarely, but when it is useful is when somebody's on top of you. So your scope shot is a hit scan shot. Your unscoped is a projectile shot. So when somebody's on top of you, so let's say there's a Genji on us, but somebody's critical all the way over there. Our quick scope lets us keep up mobility, lets us keep up visibility, lets us get that tiny little bit of sensitivity lowering, and it gets our instant shot going so that we can hit this shot at a longer range easier, so that we can
Right.
hit them at a longer range while we're under pressure, right? Because we don't want to scope in when we have somebody like directly on top of us, right?
Sure.
Second time this is useful is when we're walking back from spawn or we're walking into a fight and our team's all the way up there, or let's say they're right here, right?
Yeah.
And they're low, right? And if we sit here and scope, let's say they move around the corner, Now we have to walk all the space to get to them, right? And then
Yeah.
they might die in that time. But if we quick scope them while we're walking forwards, right, then we can cover space a lot faster and get to them faster.
Okay.
Okay, so you can probably how much time do we have left here? 15 minutes for this. I mean, we can also
Yeah.
we
About
have an extra
15.
hour. We have an extra hour, so I mean, we can probably look to play one more comp, right? And then if we need to, we can always just cut into that extra hour that we have.
All right.
Unless you'd rather do a quick play
I'm
instead.
I'm fine cutting into the hour. It's not.
What are you saying?
I'm fine cutting into that.
Mm.
It's-
All right.
Should turn this back on then. Share screen.
I'm gonna stop
Screen.
streaming. So yeah, just to I guess while we're in queue here and whatnot, just to reiterate, mechanics very good, positioning very good. Ultimate usage very bad currently, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So at the very beginning of the game, think through who you're trying to nano, right?
Yeah.
Then try to nano early in the fights. Try to use it fast and not hold on to it for multiple fights in a row. Look to use your nades a lot better and more often for anti purposes, and then sleeps. You land them very well. Just look to use them more consistently,
All right.
right? Like so more often.
Yeah. I'll be honest. I've not really like quick scoped on Ana before,
Mm.
so
Yeah, it's right click,
that's
left click.
something I'll.
It's gonna be a
Yeah.
pretty fast right click, left click. You can practice in the training range pretty easily.
Yeah.
You can do it a little bit faster than what you're doing right now because right now you're pretty
Right.
much scoping in. You can get it to where you're not even going into the scoping animation.
Okay. I won't kill her because she's friendly,
Mm.
but.
Yeah, basically you just try to do it as while you're just I guess while you're in this game you can try it while you're in the spawn here. Essentially,
Yeah.
you're trying to go as fast as you can without it canceling itself. If you do it
Okay.
too fast, it'll cancel itself, but you want to do it right before that point.
All right. This Reaper's a good nano target. Yeah.
Yep,
Right.
Reaper's gonna be really
Yeah.
good. Reaper can also be pretty decent even without his ultimate, but he's gonna be
Yeah.
really good when he does have his ult. So
Yeah.
we don't know what the other person is, but oh yeah, it's Debo. Okay, so I probably
Yeah.
do Nano Reaper ultimate first, regular
Yeah.
Reinhardt second, Kree with ult third.
Okay. Yeah.
And then that means we also remember we're pressing tab in between fights and when we're close to ult, so we know where are these guys at their ults because we need to
All
pay
right.
attention to Reaper and Kree ults.
Okay.
Right, so now that we've gotten all this information out of the way, I might start to be a little bit more shot cally here and just kind of tell you what you should be looking for when. At the very
Yeah.
beginning of the fight here, the biggest thing we're looking for is the anti-nade, right? Because there's nobody's low yet. Nobody needs the healing. Gotta watch for the diva, for her eating all her stuff.
Yeah.
I see you like tempted to scope in like when you're right next to
Yeah.
him here.
Yeah. I was trying not to. I caught myself doing it.
Make
Well,
sure so that's twice now that people have caught our nades. So make sure you're
yeah.
stepping to the left or right of them when you're looking for a nade. That way they
Okay.
don't, and you're also paying attention to where they're standing.
No. I was trying to nano him.
Right. Yep. So make sure we're thinking about our nano like earlier on in the fight. Right. That way we're already looking at him. So kind of keep your whenever you have a nano target, think so. Try to keep your crosshair on top of them so we can wait for the right opportunity.
Be honest,
Press
I
and
hate
press
balls
and
so much.
press and tab.
Yeah. Um, yeah, ball gets on my nerves. Like, it really throws me off. Because when we did our last session, he didn't exist. And I've just come
Yeah.
back to Overwatch and now he exists. And I'm,
Mm.
oh, my aim.
Yep.
But it's
So
fine.
now that we know that
It's
they're
something
on
I'll
ball
get used
diva,
to.
we can look to safe sleep us slightly more for the ball and the diva, right? That's a big one we're gonna try to save. Ball, you want to catch him when he's either in the air or when he's on the ground. Don't try to catch him when he's in the process of slamming. That's gonna be when it's the hardest to hit to get him.
God.
And make sure we're not holding on the nano here, right? We want to make sure we're
Yeah.
using it.
I don't know where Reaper went.
Yep.
I don't know where he went. I
If
lost
we're
him.
if we've lost, that's why in a situation like that,
Yeah,
right, where we lost our primary target and
yeah,
we're about to die, we probably want to go for the secondary target, right?
yeah,
That way we still are gonna win that fight, especially right. Look, because now that's the last fight there.
yeah. Yikes.
That's a range where bomb wouldn't even do any damage to you, just so you know.
Okay.
Again, remember, don't run on the
Yeah,
point unless you're the only one who can touch, right?
yeah,
If you have a tank on point or anybody else on point and you sit off of point, then you stay alive longer. You can heal them up so that they stay alive longer. But if you run on the point, then you die fast, and then they die fast because they don't have heals.
yeah. Okay.
Okay, again, make sure we're looking to use nano. Press tab when like when you see that you're 80, 90 to nano, that's
Yeah,
where we're looking to, like, essentially we're looking to use nano even before we have it, right? Right. We're looking for the opportunity. We're thinking about who we're going for. We're looking for the situation to use it. So think about how you're gonna use nano when you're like 80 and 90 to it.
okay.
Okay. Right now I'm thinking, oh, where's who's their second tank? Where's second tank at?
Yeah.
I've only seen Diva. Do they have a ball again? Right, that's what's going through my mind. Yep, don't panic when ball and diva come on top of you.
Yeah.
Wait until after the DM. Wait until after the slam. Right, you're not gonna die instantly when you get slammed. You're gonna have
Yeah.
a good 3 seconds to land that sleep. So make sure you're not doing it instantly, but you're waiting.
Oh dear.
Yep. Try not to.
Well.
Yep. Try to stand near the edge. Probably
Yeah.
don't be on point. Be just a little bit off. Like be
Yeah.
up the stairway. Right. Don't be on top of point. Okay. Who are we nanoing?
Be Reaper first, then maybe Roadhog.
When are we nanoing?
Uh, early in the fight, ideally.
Yep. Okay. Good aggressive anti-nade. Probably can we can chuck it in the sleep as well. Right down that corridor. Probably hit something with it.
Oh, I really wanted to hit Roadhog, please. I think that hit Mercy. I can't believe
Mm.
it.
We'll have to
Okay.
go into that after this. Have you adjusted your nano sensitivity at all?
I might have done, but
Okay,
don't
we'll
know
have to
when.
we'll have to
I'll
take a
have to
look at
look
that
at that.
afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that one. Okay, so 75% of deaths you are able to
Yeah.
improve off of. That's not one of
Yeah.
them.
Right. Brutal. I'd say out of all the characters, Ball is my biggest
Yep.
weakness.
With
Uh,
ball, big thing is just your sleep pretty much just shuts him down. And it's a very easy way to kill him. So wait until after he's slammed, or you can even try to go maybe before he's slammed.
that's dangerous. I don't. Oh my god. Okay.
Good self heals. Okay. What was that? Are you streaming?
Streaming?
Wait, what was that? I just got a.
Nope.
What the heck? I wonder if like I just got a streaming sound. What the heck was that?
Do you stream? Do you
I
have your
have
OBS
not
open? Or?
not not in a very long time though. And
Okay.
maybe for
Odd
the
position.
only thing I can think of is that the recording, because I'm like recording through OBS, then maybe somebody like followed my Twitch and then that.
Log you out.
But I'm not streaming. I don't know why.
Oh god. Please, Steve, come on. I should be the one contesting.
Yep. Keep in mind you don't have to worry about ticks, right? It's better to win the
Yeah,
fight than to try to save what 3 seconds of point time.
yeah. Come on, team. You can do it. Okay, perhaps not.
All right.
Dear. That was not a good game.
Would you like to do like one more, maybe like quick play or something, or would you like to just move on to the other hour that we have here?
I could do a quick play. That works.
All right.
I don't want to watch.
All right. So here I'm pretty much again, since we have talked, you can go ahead and EQ.
Yeah.
Pretty much since we have gone over a ton of information, we've gone over the main issues and points. I'm pretty much just gonna be shot calling for you and telling you, okay, do this, do that. You should be doing this now, right? Especially since this is quick play and not in comp, I wouldn't feel bad about carrying you or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that way you can know when you should be doing things and when you should be looking for things.
Okay.
Right? Taking a look at the comp. Zarya, full charge Zarya is gonna be good. We have a Nano Visor and then Hog. Okay, so Nano Visor and Hog are. Oh, now we have Orisa. So Nano Visor is gonna be number one. Nano
Yeah.
full charge Zarya is gonna be number two. And then
Right.
now we have, again we swapped over team
Oh,
comp. Okay, so
oh.
now probably whatever tank is lower is gonna be number two. And then if they don't have an Ana or a Sombra, Nano Bob is also probably gonna be pretty good.
Okay.
Right here, probably maybe look to set up like above where soldiers right in that
Yeah.
window.
Up there, yeah. I'm never too sure. It's like, do I sit up that far side or this side or yeah.
Yeah, this side that means you can rotate to the mega room, you can rotate to above point. Right, this gives you a few different options of where you can go from here.
Right.
From
Okay.
here, keep in mind we can very easily go for the scoped in ult charge nade tech right when they're walking through choke.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I think we're already down a person, so we gotta be careful. Right now I'd be looking for a nade. We just gotta wait for the shield to go down. Aim it a little bit lower.
Oh yeah.
Right, remember we're going for their feet, not we're not aiming it directly at their bodies.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Awareness, right? Watch out for where they are.
Yeah.
And then back up as soon as your team's backing up. Okay, right here we want to be, since we lost that fight, back up, right? We want to be positioning
Yeah,
top left, probably.
left.
Yep.
Right.
So right up top
I
left,
don't
right?
actually know how to get up there. Oh, right, okay. Not actually been up there.
Yep. That gives you really good angles for nades, gives you good angles over all of your team on point, and it puts you out of line of sight of the enemy team, right? Because we can use that side cover. So you always want to look for those 3 check boxes, right, whenever you're positioning. Or I'll say them again in a second. Okay, coming up on our ult, 70%. Nade yourself. A little bit,
Oh,
yep, a
oh,
little bit
the
slow on that.
Echo Diva, yeah, was in my face. To be fair, whenever I play this map, it doesn't last
Oh my,
long.
that's
Ever.
very fast.
Yeah,
Yep. Big.
yeah,
Right. So and with our positioning, we're always looking to check off 3 boxes. Can we see our team? Can the enemy team see us? We don't really want to let them see us most of the time. And can we
yeah.
land nades and sleeps from where we're at? Right. So
Right.
those are the 3 things we're looking for. Would you like
Okay.
to start the quick play stuff or what?
Yeah, we can do.
All right.
I should probably switch servers.
All right. Let me. Oh, I mean, I can swap go to your server. I'm gonna end the recording here.
All right.